Hey guys, welcome back to the cave. So today in this video, I'm going to get the motor done, completely painted, completely plumbed up with nitrous and fuel lines, ready to go in. I'm going to get the body sanded smooth, and I'm not sure if I'm going to polish or if I'm going to coat with future. We'll see how it goes, and hopefully, one way or another, this thing's going to be shiny. So make sure you stay tuned. Howdy guys, welcome to the cave. I'm Mark, and you're watching Blue Street Customs. Welcome back. Okay, so let me show you where I'm at here. I did wet sand this car, and it's not perfect, but let me tell you, this thing is, well, I'd say 100% better than it was. Now, of course, if you saw the last video, you would have seen how bad the texture was. For some unknown reason, I'm thinking probably temperature, because it's not the warmest here in my YouTube room. And of course, it's Canada, so it's not the warmest at this time of year. So I think that may have played a factor. I'm not quite sure, but let me show you where it's at right now. So as you can see, there's almost no texture. There's still a little bit, so I'm not looking for perfect. This car's been around for a while. Maybe this guy wasn't very good at painting, but either way, it is washed up. Probably wipe it down again with rubbing alcohol just to make sure there's no oils or anything on it. I didn't bother sanding the bumper because it wasn't actually that bad texture. But the hood, yeah, the hood, the tops of the fenders, they were in pretty rough shape. So that's actually looking pretty good right now. Now let me show you the car. So here's the car. And as you can see, there is still some texture. But I think once it's polished, for the amount of texture that's still left on the car, you won't see it very much at all. You know, I can still feel the different thicknesses on the red. The purple, I can't feel them, so they're flat. But the red is quite thick, and I can feel that, which is fine by me. Because even if the red sticks up a bit, it'd probably just give it a cool look. The decals are flat. And again, you can see like a little bit of texture around the wheels, or the wheel arches, I should say. You know, a little bit around the letters. But I had to be careful because, as you see right here, I may have to touch it up a little bit. It actually sanded through the purple, so there must have been a high spot right there, and I wasn't paying attention. Now I just finished washing it, that's why there's still wet marks all over it, but I gotta clean out my door gaps from sanding. I'll redo all my chrome trim, but look at the roof. Very little texture on the roof now compared to what it was. Same thing with the trunk, very, very little texture. Not enough that I'm actually going to worry about. Who knows, maybe this is a 25-year-old paint job and it's starting to look rough. Now, I didn't bother across here either, and I didn't bother here, because the texture under here isn't actually that bad, but it will actually look kind of cool with the motor sitting there. So, that's where I'm at with that. So, like I said, I'm not sure if I'm just going to spray it with Future, or if I'm going to try and polish it. Now, I don't think I'll be doing much with the chassis today. I think basically I just got to polish up this body or something, get it shiny somehow, and I'm going to start doing the windows. And at that point, the car is pretty much ready to put the body on the chassis. And once the motor is done, well, the motor will go in. So it won't be long. I know it's been a long process, but, you know, thank you very much for sticking with me. And you guys seem to enjoy the Nova. Probably a little more so than the Daytona, but I have been working on the parts for the dyno. It is a above ground dyno, and when this car is done, well, I'll finish up the diorama portion of it. I haven't put any of it together yet, so if you want to see me build that and paint it and everything else, make sure to let me know down in the comments. While you're down there giving a comment, how about hitting that like button for me, and maybe smash that subscribe button if you haven't already, and maybe just double check, because YouTube seems to like to unsubscribe people for some reason. So if you're not sure, go down and check, hit that bell icon so you can get notified when I post more videos. So let's get to it. Okay guys, just a quick little update here. Okay, so you saw this here. It's all wet sanded. Little bit of texture, nothing major, right? Well, tell me what you think. Now you see one side of the hood compared to the other side. Now, the shiny side did have a little bit of texture, the same as this one. Now this, it hasn't been washed off at all yet. This is still only stage 1. I'm using the salmon eyes, and I'm just using my Dremel with a a layered polishing pad, cotton pad. As you can see, it's all layered. All right, so that's all I'm doing. I'm just rubbing some on, right, with my finger. Rub it on, and then my Dremel on its lowest speed, and that's what I'm coming out with. So now if you look at it just right, I don't know if the camera will pick it up. You can almost see, if you catch it in just the right light, there's a dimple right where that light glare is. See that little dimple? There are some here and there, and that is what you're going to see. That's from these here, where it's not completely flat. So you see there's a few right along this edge here, but from a distance, you can barely see that at all. And that's more than good enough for me. And like I said, this is only stage 1. I still got 2 and 3 to go yet. So I'm going to continue on with this. Let me know what you think of that. Is that going to be good enough? Or should I wet sand it some more? So far, I'm liking that. So I'm going to continue on this, and I'll be back and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, back for another piece of this update. Now we're getting along pretty good on this car, and I didn't record it all, but I got the car polished, and I got quite a bit further along. So let me show you. So, start off with, take the motor out, because I'm not done with that yet. Now as you see, I've got wires sticking through, but the body is completely shiny. Now, I've been handling it, so it's got fingerprints all over it. Now, I did put the glass in, so the glass is in. I did use the red in the back quarter windows and the front vent windows, but I left the side windows clear on both sides. Left the windshield clear so you can still see in. Now, I also have the body glued on and the rear bumper. Now I gotta put taillights in, I gotta do some panel lining in there. I gotta do some touch-ups underneath where I glued it. So we'll get that done up. That'll be one of the next things to do. The engine, haven't gotten much further with it, but I am getting ready to start building the fan and everything on it. I had to extend the bottom piece. I got to cut these pulleys off because this one is supposed to go like this, if it'll cooperate with me. It's supposed to go like that, and the alternator is supposed to be on top, and I don't want it there. So to have the water pump pulley where it's supposed to be, the crank pulley where it's supposed to be, and use the alternator pulley where I want it, I have to cut it all out, and I'll make a new belt for it. But the water pump pulley will get glued on there. The crank pulley, I had to extend it, and I'll cut this down to where I need it. So that'll get glued on there. Now I want the alternator pulley, and I want the alternator, I lost it. I want the alternator down on the bottom here, right? So that the alternator will be down below the engine block, right? And I've already measured, it's going to be fine. There's enough room down here. Once the motor's in its place, like so, I got lots of room down here to be able to do that. As for the wires, I've got a fire suppression system, or that's what it's going to be. So this will get mounted on the firewall. I have a coil that I gotta paint, and that's gonna get mounted on the firewall right about here somewhere, and I'll show you that after when that's done. Now I have a overflow catch can for any coolant overflow, tranny overflow, engine oil vapors, things like that, and that'll get mounted on the firewall as well. I'll have to figure out where so it doesn't interfere with the engine, but it'll be on there somewhere. Now, as far as the radiator's got to go across right here somewhere. All right. Now to do that, I've got this piece here. It's a piece of styrene. Comes as strips. I was thinking of making a piece that'll go straight across. It's the right width, but I could just glue the radiator down and cut off these little nibs that are right there, right? Because if I try to drill these holes, I mean, that's not going to leave me much plastic. So I'll probably just cut these off, and that will get glued across from rail to rail, like so. And then the radiator can go on there in front of the engine. Now I got these here. These are venting ducts from one of the NASCAR models. So I'm going to see if I can use them as radiator hoses. If not, I've got other stuff I can try and use. So everything is lining up real nice. Like the back wheels are lining up good. I got to do some panel lining in here and finish cleaning out that polish compound that's in there. And at the very end, I'll touch up my chrome and trim on stuff on the windows. And we'll go from there. So I just wanted to show you where I'm at, and I'm going to get back to it. And when I've got more done, I'll be back and I'll show you where it's at. This car's getting real close to being done. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Hey guys. Well, I got quite a bit done. And as you can see, I didn't put these things on. Right? Didn't use either one of them. I haven't put the radiator hoses on yet. I do have some wire out, and I do have some belt material out. I also have some gold foil out. So you're probably sitting there wondering, okay, so what the hell did you do? Well, first of all, this gold foil, this is from off of coffee cans, right? Nice, keeps everything nicely sealed. So let me show you what I did with it. I put some underneath, right? Just super glued it down, almost like a heat shield, right? I think that looks pretty good. Now, as far as the catch can, fire suppression in the coil, there's what I've done with it so far. So we got the coil here. There's the coil, fire suppression. We get the activation wire for it, power wire for the coil. Now the catch can I put over here, right? Power wire down here so far. The other piece will be on the motor, and I haven't dealt with the ground wire yet. This ground wire. So I haven't dealt with that yet. Okay. Getting there. Now, over to this stuff. Move this out of the way. Let me show you. So I'm going to be using this braided line. And this is what it is. It's a part number for you from Detail Master. Great stuff. I also have these compression fittings. They're just tiny little suckers, but it's the right size for this. Again, from Detail Master. Now, I was also using some of this. All right, this stuff here. Now, let me show you why. I did aluminum pulleys, resin alternator from Off the Sprue. I don't think I have the package down here. Now I painted the bottom of the frame, started painting the pipes, made my own bracket for the alternator. Got all that stuff on, put the belt on. Now, you saw the linkage before, but I painted linkage rail. I also drilled holes in the valve covers, and that'll be for those braided line, right? That'll go to the catch can. I did the fuel lines. I still got to paint them up a bit. Paint the blue and stuff and the red. Got a fuel filter down there, as you can see, and that line runs down the back side of the block, across, and it'll go onto the rail. Also have power wire for the starter, and that'll go through the firewall. I got my throttle linkage right here. As you can see, I got to paint that black. It's still white. So this is coming along pretty good. And so yeah, I got the starter wire, and then I've got the ignition coil wire. Obviously it's going to be cut down, but I'll put that on once the motor's in. And the motor's almost ready to go in. I got the radiator painted up. Now I do have some stuff that I'm going to put on the front here. It's radiator fins. That'll help bring out some detail and stuff. Finish painting that up. I also got this bottom piece on that the radiator will sit in, like so. It'll just sit on it. Not a big deal. That was simple to do. Now once the motor's in, and this fuel line is where it needs to be exactly, I can start to run fuel line. That'll run all along this frame rail and down the back, and I'll lead it into where the fuel cell is, right? I'll probably try to run some brake lines, and I'll run them up and around, and that'll go in or come along and go up to the bottom of the firewall, or right into the firewall here, and master cylinders inside. So that's where I'm at, and when I got more done, I'll come back and I'll show you. All right, everybody, so I'm going to do up this braided line. I have these tiny little fittings that go on the end. And then what I'm going to do is take this, one on each side. They fit. They'll get glued in here, and I'll run them over to the catch tank. So, as you saw, I was having a lot of trouble with something that small, trying to film it, the camera in the way, things like that. So I'm going to get this done. As you can see, the motor is in, and that's all glued in. Let me zoom out here for a sec. So the motor is in. There we go. I got the ground wire on, and that's glued to the back of the block. You can see that right here. Then the starter wire comes up and in. And I've got the alternator wire on across. Now I do still have to put all the little clamps on and things like that. I'll do that once I got everything in its place and I know where everything's going to stay. So once I got that done, I'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like. Hey guys, I thought I'd let you watch while I do final few things here before I close out the video. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be putting on my ignition coil wire, the radiator, but I also cut up some screen, some radiator screen. And this screen here will get glued onto this. Just do a couple touches of super glue. It's hard to see, but it actually adds quite a bit of detail to it. Also, whoa, no, I lost one. I'm going to glue on these mini velocity stacks. I will be cutting up screen to put inside later. So I'm going to get the super glue going here, and we're going to get this stuff glued on. Okay, there we go. I think that'll be the end for this video. In the next video, I'm going to do the radiator hoses. I'm going to run the fuel lines underneath, brake lines, I'll build my drive shaft, probably touch up a few more things, and this car will be pretty much done. Oh yeah, I got to also do the tail lights. I got to glue them in. Then I can give the car a final wipe down, touch up all my trim on the windows, anywhere that needs it, door handles, touch anything else up. I've got a little bit of red and blue anodizing on the fittings. So let me know what you think, of how everything's looking so far. If you got any ideas, if I missed something, maybe ideas for the next vehicle. Leave some comments down below. Also, down below, go check out in the description. I have the link there for my Instagram and my Facebook page and my Facebook group. Go check those out, give them a follow. I also have a PayPal Me account down there, so if you feel that you want to help out the channel in some way, that link is there for you. But for now, that's going to be the end of this video. I want to thank everybody for the awesome growth that has happened on my channel for the 2021 year. It's been awesome, and it's all thanks to you guys. So a big thank you goes out to you. Also, a belated Merry Christmas. Things have been busy. I haven't been able to record as much as I wanted to, having some running around to do with family and this and that. But it is New Year's Eve, so if you watch this before then, I want to wish you all a happy and safe New Year's, and hopefully everything that you want, you'll be able to work for and get in the new year of 2022. So thank you, everybody. Be safe, and I'll see you next year. So until then, later.